So when you're relatively clear-headed, you'll see emotional pump and dumps for what they are, because you can detect the tone in people's writing. You can detect the excitement in people's voices. You can detect the hormones that are the inflection of the hormones that come out, in videos, comes out in Facebook posts and comments, and even when you're in person, when you're talking to a person. And so, I've been part of all the different fear campaigns, okay? People were fearful of the J world. Of course. People don't understand salt and water and elements and minerals and food and all this other stuff. So that was a whole 6-year process of learning about the world that you live in. But 9/11/2001 was literally the kickoff of the fear campaigns. And then you had the Alex Jones of the world. Then you had all the little influencers and the pump and dump guys that are all trying to sell you something. I don't care what it is. A pill, powder, supplement, detox, an investment, off-gridding, survival equipment. I mean, you name it. It was like, holy crap. It's like they devised a campaign to sell you something. And fear is a great seller because it is hormonal. It is suffering. People are attracted to that. It is an addiction. I get it. I'll tell you, I even fell into it last night because you know that we've been marinating in this whole bank collapse, bank holiday. I listened to Alex Jones for many years. My husband and I were like Alex Jones freaks for so many years. Okay, I even bought his supplements when he was selling them back in 2012. We bought t-shirts. You saw the t-shirts that we had. We were like, a card-carrying member of the Alex Jones Club. So I know fear like the back of my hand. I participated in it. I even promoted it. So I can speak from experience. But, jeez. So, yeah, I've seen fear for what it is. It's a major seller. And that's what kicked off 9/11 was just all the selling of the remedies, all that. So I got caught up in that last night, marinated in the bank fears. Okay, the bank holidays, the bank runs. Of course, we're demonizing, the Rothschilds because they devised this whole monetary campaign. And okay, that's fine. They devised an organized system so people had ways to take money out and buy money and all this other stuff. And that I'm not worried about it. They've developed a really good system if you understand it. If you don't understand it, you will be victimized because you will buy into somebody's pump and dump stuff. And so, with the collapse of the SVB and Signature, and maybe the stocks are going down. Why are stocks going down? Because people are reacting. They're pulling their money out. They're selling off their shares. That's why the stocks are going down, because it's an emotional thing. The stock market, everything is emotional. Everything is. When people aren't emotional, aren't in fear, they're not going to be pulling their money out. They're going to be feeling secure. They're going to buy and sell and do their thing and all that. And that was happened way before 2001, right? So things were relatively okay. So when 2001 came around, it was crazy. Yeah, we had terrorist stuff. Yeah, we had stuff go on before 2001. We had the riots and we had racism and we had civil rights and all that stuff. But then it went into the terrorism, and then it went into the fear, and then it went to the government. People are like, anti-government, and they're going to take control. Then it's 1984, George Orwell, and then it's the Illuminati, and then it's GMO, and then it's vaccines, and then you know it because you've experienced it. You've been in it. You know it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We've been in it for 50 fucking years, okay? And so last night, I got a good taste of when you're not educated about food, about elements and minerals, if you're not educated about the banking system, what FDIC insures. Okay, and I even had to learn that last night. I don't always read the fine print. Here, FDIC insured, okay, $250,000 up to this. I didn't know the details. I just know that your deposits, not even say deposits, the money in your bank is insured up to $250,000 and nothing over that. Okay, but what exactly? Is it your investments? Is it your certificate of deposits? Is it your life insurance? Is it, those type of things? Are those, but I didn't look at that as part of that or not part of that. Okay, so last night, and there's a lot of fear out there in the religious world, and I get it, and I understand because everything is biblical, right? and someone posted, and I don't falter for it, because I would have probably seen the same thing and reacted too, because of the feelings are so raw from SVB and Signature Bank and crypto and all that stuff. So she posted something that it said, oh yeah, we're updating the terms of our agreement. Now, when you see we're updating the terms of our agreement on something like Wells Fargo, who's already admitted that they're having computer glitches, and then we're having, we have the collapse of SVB and the collapse of this bank and that bank, and you're seeing a meme that looks relatively like a screenshot of someone's updated terms of agreement. And it didn't say anything that you wouldn't necessarily ordinarily see. Maybe there was a change in something, but it wasn't the change that you think. But you have to go click on the links to figure out what the change. You have to know what was in it before, okay, in those terms of agreement, and then see what was different. And if you don't know what was in it before and you don't see something's different, then you'll see whatever you think is the change. And so when it says that, insurance products and investments are not covered under FDIC, you think that was a change. No, that's standard. I even had to look. When I saw that meme, and I was like, oh my God, I freaked out. Like, oh my God, like everybody else. And I admit it, okay, I fall into that too, so I'm not immune to that. I posted it and was like, holy shit, Jason, look at the, right? And then I looked under my bank. I went under my bank and looked and saw if we were FDIC insured and if there's any changes in our agreement, because you never know how shit works. You get paranoid. And of course, that's a natural reaction, you get paranoid. So I looked under the terms of my agreement, like, oh, investments like life insurance or mutual fund type of stuff, when you're buying and selling, trading through your bank, life insurance again, annuities, all those things that are subject to depreciate for whatever reason based upon the stock market, that's not insured. That was never insured. FDIC does not insure life insurance, does not insure, all those types of investment vehicles. But yeah, certificate of deposit, straight deposits, absolutely insured, but they don't insure certain things. And that's standard across the freaking board of the banking industry. But if you don't know that, and then someone poses information that really is very misleading, and it's intended to be that way, your initial reaction after all this was the actual intention. They want somebody, whoever wrote that, wanted you to run on your own bank, wanted that to go viral and have Wells Fargo be ran on by their own customers. That's the depopulation agenda. That is the fear campaigns. That is exploiting ignorance. Same thing with the whole J world. People are like all freaking out about freaking salt and symptoms and water, and we're only told one fucking point of view about symptoms and salt and water and all that stuff. And so when someone introduced something different, or was like something happened or whatever that they didn't understand, they didn't go and try to understand. Someone mischaracterized whatever I was doing, just no different than that freaking meme about Wells Fargo, and ran a train on this whole J world, right? That's where ignorance gets you. Fear comes from massive amounts of ignorance. And you're seeing now with the fear campaigns, they're exploiting the ignorant. See, that's what I finally figured out. Again, not only are people with licenses gamble on your body, mind, and spirit, okay? But people who are in fear are ignorant. That ought to fucking wake you up, because that's exactly what they were doing last night. They were exploiting the ignorant. And you saw, if I hadn't gone in there, I basically stopped that leg of viralism, and I thought, before I even let that go viral, I took it off and I corrected myself. Oh shit, I was wrong here, because I did my own research. See, when people don't do their own fucking research, they go and react and then create campaigns and live that's real. And you can't stop someone's ignorance. You can't. Once ignorance goes viral, you can't stop it. Now you gotta be like, what the fuck? And then you feel bad for humanity, because that's humanity. When you allow somebody else with a license commandeer your body, your mind, your spirit, your finances, and you don't bother to understand the things that you're signing off on, that's why you are in fear. That's why you have cancer. That's why you have disease. That's why you have chronic illness. That's why you're bankrupt in body, mind, and spirit. And it's no one's fault but our own, because we allowed somebody else to dictate what we should be afraid of, what we should not be afraid of. That right there is a fucking system. That's the system you live in. That's the system that's being torn down. That's the system that's being exposed. And you're going to see people repeat the same things. As soon as that crypto market and all that gone to the wayside, now you're seeing people put their money in something else, in precious metals, in futures, in all, and I've written on my Facebook, worshiping the golden calf. That's biblical. When I remember the story in Sunday school, when they were worshiping the golden calf, when they turned away from God and they were worshiping the golden calf, and God got pissed off and got mad and then melted the golden calf and poured that melted gold down the throats of those who were worshiping the golden calf. That was a pretty horrific type of Sunday school lesson. But that's essentially what's going on, is that the influencers, the pump and dumpers are basically melting the gold, melting the silver, melting the currency, and pouring it down the throats of those who are so freaking emotional. But that's the last money grab during this great reset. That's the last money grab. When people are like, they can't move for whatever reason, they're too afraid to move somewhere, go into another climate they're not used to. And they're stuck somewhere and they have all this money they don't know what to do with, right? We have people who made money, don't know what to do with it. Because how much can you do with like millions and millions of dollars, or even thousands and thousands of dollars? How much can you buy? How many trips can you go on? Right? So they have so much money, they're so flush with cash that the only thing they can do is play with it. And since they're not gonna be around for a long time, they're afraid they're gonna lose it. Which is, it's a crazy fear, but that's the thing, that's what's going on. So they're afraid they're gonna lose it. So then they go put their money in all these things, and they're going to tell their friends, oh, put your money here, put your money there. And people are basically giving up their eye teeth. They're taking their money, they're taking their hard-earned cash, right? Which could be like little points, little check marks, on your online statement. So unless you take all your cash and put it in your house, all it is just numbers, digits that are, on your statement or in your online thing. And they're taking that and transferring it to gold. So now you have all that. So either you're buying bullions, or you have another statement that shows another bank draft or another draft of how much you have and how much is being taken away, and it fluctuates. What? Gambling. But even then, you hold all that money in your house, you can't really convert it, you can't liquidate it, because it's a fucking gold bullion. You can't eat it. When you go, you take this big gold bullion, right? And you go take it outside. Hey, I want to go and buy some food. And they're like, well, how do I break that down? How do I turn that into change? I mean, does that even make sense to you? To have either gold bullions in your house, or take your money that was secure, that was staying rather conservative and not moving, and you're putting it into a fluctuating account where it could be taken away and disappear like that based upon the market conditions? That's gambling. That's the world. That's the fear campaigns. That's those that want to get rich quick. They don't understand how this shit works. Because I'm thinking like, oh gosh, if you get a substantial amount of cash and you put it in your bank and you figure out what your expenses are and what you and all that, and how much you're bringing in, and you go get a job or a small little job. I mean, even if Social Security, like I know I'm not getting a massive amount of Social Security, but at some point Social Security is going to keep my husband and I going for however long, right? And you have to budget that, right? And then if you need to make up any difference because you want something else, then you go get a small job that you enjoy and bring in some cash, and that's, for me, that's being rich. But when you're taking money when people have too much money and they're just gambling it, that's for me, that's fraud, waste, and abuse. That's sacrilegious to me. That's financial abuse. When you're gambling the money that could keep you alive, keep somebody else alive, that's sacrilegious to me. I don't get it. And now that I look at it and I see what's going on, it's even more crazy when you think about it. So the pump and dump, it's not going to end. We're going to have pump and dump until the very fucking end. So as the storms are brewing on each side of the coast and even in the middle of America, and you have all these people who are fucking crazy, pumping and dumping their whole freaking life savings away, you just got to sit back and watch and be like, whoa, gambling here with all the licenses, even marriage licenses, gambling over here, gambling over there, pump and dump here, and destruction. I mean, yeah, we're in some apocalyptic type of shit, man. And so I now see why all these influencers came up out of nowhere, out of fucking woodwork, pumping and dumping stocks, pumping and dumping crypto, pumping and dumping some kind of big, celebrity event or some, I don't know, charity campaign. I'm done with all of that. I don't get involved. See, we have people like on YouTube that are, influencers, and they're talking about what celebrities are doing and all that. And some of them are under lawsuits because they're defaming someone. And I was in that. Okay, I understand. And so, I think I said one name, Jeff Berwick, and I think I said Alex Jones. I'm not defaming them. I'm just saying I'm not into the pump and dump. They were in the crypto. They were selling supplements. Not both of them. Well, they both were actually. But they do their thing. I don't know if they're both victims of the system or if they're influencers and the part of the designers of the system. I have no idea. I can't prove anything. But I know now, I learned, done worshiping the golden calf. I'm done with that. I'm not religious, but damn it, I understand some of the Bible stories. Okay? Holy shit. And that is a lesson to me that you can't just get. You have to actually experience that lesson. Because even me saying it, those that see it and they are very biblical and all that stuff, they don't see it. If anything, they're justifying that story away. Because remember, there's so many different versions of the Bible that justify hoarding cash and gambling your life away. So there's so many versions of that you can't really say anything, because there's this version of the Bible, this version of the Bible, this version of the Bible, and they're all going to justify their lifestyle and belief system. So you can't say anything. You could, but it's not going to make a difference. But the fact that I recognized it shows that I actually paid attention in Sunday school. It wasn't all just eating cookies and candy and trying to sit still and listening to somebody talk about stories. There was some actual moral lessons that were imparted. And so sometimes when you think your kids aren't listening, they're listening. They probably won't remember those lessons until way later on when it actually is, when it makes sense to remember those lessons. But you also have to be clear in body, mind, and spirit, because I probably wouldn't have known this 10 years ago if it wasn't for the J world. Okay? So be very careful of the fear. You don't want to come off ignorant. Fear equals ignorance. Pump and dump equals emotions, out of control emotions. When you're pumping shit up and pumping holistic and pumping allopathic and pumping up all this other crap, you're part of the fucking fear campaigns. When you are in the holistic, allopathic, politics, religion, and science, activism, it's the fear campaigns, pump and dump. You're blinding somebody else's pockets. You ain't taking care of yourself. When you're all about one thing or another, when you're bitter about, what's going on, you're bitter because you have no recourse. I've seen bitter people on my Facebook in the worlds that I circulated in. Oh, they are so fucking bitter and they're angry. And I don't blame them, because they don't have any recourse to get out of their own way. No matter how much you try to say, hey, because it's just too painful. And so right now they got to deal with it. And they got to go and pump and dump and be in fear. And so if I'm going to narrow everything down, everything the last 6 years, pump and dump, gambling, and fear equals ignorance. Bye.